being such an experienced player, and I've had difficulties with her playing before, so I'm happy that, I'm taking my advantage.
Change the pace off your own racket. Get a drop shot to fall in. Looking for another break of serve to close this out.
An explosion has rocked the ASB Classic in Auckland, and it has nothing to do with the match results. Tennis fans expecting routine coverage were instead blindsided by one of the most explosive, jaw-dropping, and potentially career-threatening scandals to open the season. Croatian veteran Donna Vekić ignited controversy by launching cheating accusations against Alex, unleashing a brutal 16-word comeback that instantly broke the internet. With accusations flying, reputations hanging in the balance, and a verbal knockout so savage it left the press room in stunned silence, this moment transcended sport. This isn't just tennis anymore, it's war. And before anyone even asks who won or lost on the court, the bombshell that detonated just hours ago demands attention. Apparently deciding that this was the day to blow the whistle, the Croatian veteran went after rising star Alex with allegations so serious they could derail everything the young Filipino sensation has worked for. According to multiple sources in the press room, she publicly accused the 20-year-old of using unknown substances to reduce fatigue during matches, words that carry enormous weight in professional tennis, where even the faintest hint of impropriety can end a career overnight. Visibly frustrated and emotional, she didn't hold back, stating that if winning requires cutting corners, she would rather lose with her integrity intact. She went further, labeling Ila's performance as unprofessional and fundamentally dishonest. This was no subtle jab or passive-aggressive remark buried in a long interview. It was a direct and public character assassination aimed squarely at one of the sport's brightest young talents. The press room, usually filled with routine questions about serve percentages and unforced errors, instantly transformed into a courtroom where Ila's reputation was put on trial without warning, evidence, or mercy. But the story took a wild turn when Ila trained at the Rafael Nadal Academy, where discipline, mental toughness, and emotional control are paramount, completely lost her composure. And who could blame her? When your integrity is questioned in front of the entire tennis world, when you're essentially labeled a cheater on what should be one of the proudest days of your career, something inside snaps. The cameras captured the moment her expression changed, anger flashing in her eyes as her demeanor shifted from composed professional to someone pushed to the edge. She looked like someone who had simply been pushed too far. She didn't yell, throw anything, or storm out of the room. Instead, she leaned forward into the microphone, locked eyes with the assembled media, and delivered a 16-word response so cold, so cutting, and so devastating that it silenced everyone in the stadium. While the exact wording is still being debated by lip readers and insiders across social media, the message was unmistakably clear. It was a verbal uppercut that subtly questioned whether Vekić's accusations were rooted not in truth, but in bitterness over her own inability to match Ila's work ethic and dedication. The comeback didn't just deflect the accusation, it dismantled the accuser's credibility entirely. In an instant, the narrative flipped, and Vekić no longer looked like a whistleblower but the villain of the story. And just when the room thought it had seen everything, insiders say a second shock followed, as Ila, having delivered her knockout line, she reportedly went a step further by challenging anyone who doubted her to produce actual evidence and, according to several accounts, even offered to undergo immediate voluntary drug testing on the spot. No advance notice, no time to prepare, nothing. That is the move of an athlete with absolutely nothing to hide, someone confident in the cleanliness of her body and determined to prove it beyond any shadow of doubt. The bold power play completely shifted the narrative, leaving Vekić and her supporters scrambling. But while the press room drama was captivating, it shouldn't overshadow what sparked the controversy in the first place. Alex had just delivered one of the most impressive performances of her young career. The Filipino star officially punched her ticket to the ASB Classic semifinals by dismantling a player who had long been her kryptonite. The match opened with both players trading breaks as they tested strategies and searched for weaknesses, but as the first set unfolded, it became clear that Ila had taken a major step forward. Her left-handed serve created constant problems, opening the court and generating angles the Polish opponent simply couldn't cover, and when rallies extended, Ila seized control with growing confidence and precision. She was ready, pouncing on anything short and punishing it with authority. The first set went Ila's way, 6-3, and with every point her confidence visibly grew. The second set was where she truly announced herself as a legitimate threat on the WTA Tour. Rather than easing off after taking the opener, Ila came out even more aggressively, breaking the net early, building a commanding lead, and never looking back. To Lynette's credit, the veteran fighter refused to surrender, raising her level, finding greater depth on her ground strokes, and battling for every point. But each time she mounted a challenge, Ela had an answer: a blistering down-the-line winner, a perfectly disguised drop shot, or a serve that clipped the line and left her opponent frozen. It was a masterclass in high-level tennis from a player still just 20 years old, and Ela closed out the second set 6-2, securing not just a victory, but her first-ever win over Magda Linette. It was a statement victory, the kind that sends a clear message to the rest of the draw that a new force has arrived. In her immediate post-match interview before controversy exploded and seized the headlines, Ela was humble and reflective, acknowledging the significance of defeating a player of Lynette's caliber and experience, especially one who had beaten her twice before. She spoke about seeing her level rise, making tangible improvements in key areas of her game, and gaining confidence from finally breaking through against an opponent who had long had the upper hand. It was exactly the kind of mature, thoughtful response you hope to hear from a rising star. Unfortunately, her day was far from over. The emotional mix of triumph and pressure may have helped fuel the volatility that surfaced later in the press room, because after celebrating her singles breakthrough, Ela had to immediately shift gears and return to the court for her doubles semifinal. Partnering with American player Iva Jovic, Ela faced the experienced Chinese duo of Yuan Shuai and Yang Zhaoxian in the doubles semifinals. On paper, Ela and Jovic had every reason to be confident. They had advanced after receiving a quarterfinal walkover and had already delivered an impressive opening round victory over tennis royalty in the form of Alina Svitolina and Venus Williams. Momentum was clearly on their side, and another win would have sent them into the final with a legitimate chance to claim the title. Meanwhile, what insiders are calling the second shock from the press conference delivered immediately after Ela's brutal 16-word reply was reportedly an open challenge to her accusers. Multiple sources claim she offered to undergo immediate voluntary drug testing right there in the press room, publicly calling Vekić's bluff in the most dramatic way imaginable. If true, and all signs suggest it is, the move showed zero fear, complete confidence in her clean status, and a willingness to put everything on the line to defend her reputation. In one moment, Ela flipped the script entirely, shifting the pressure squarely onto Vekić and anyone who shared her suspicions. Produce concrete evidence to support the accusations, or retract them and apologize. There was no middle ground. There is no middle ground anymore. Ela has forced everyone's hand, and now the tennis world is waiting to see what happens next. Will the WTA step in and launch an investigation? Will Vekić double down on her accusations and present whatever evidence she believes she has? Or will the entire controversy quietly fade as it becomes clear there is no substance behind the claims? What we are witnessing is the transformation of Alex Ela from a talented young prospect into a battle-hardened competitor. She is no longer just the smiling teenager from the Philippines grateful for a spot on the professional tour. She is becoming an athlete who understands that at the highest level of sport, people will come for you trying to unsettle you, undermine your confidence, and get inside your head by any means necessary. In that press room, she showed she has the mental armor not only to absorb those attacks, but to fire back even harder. The fallout from this incident promises to be massive and will continue to unfold in the days and weeks ahead, with serious questions looming about potential consequences if Vekić's accusations are proven baseless. If the accusations are ultimately proven to be completely baseless, could Ela pursue legal action for defamation if she believes her reputation has been irreparably harmed? Or will this rivalry eventually be settled the old-fashioned way, across the net in a future match? Honestly, many are hoping for the latter, because an Ela-Vekić showdown right now would shatter television ratings, dominate social media, and potentially crash every tennis streaming platform at once. For now, however, the focus must shift back to what comes next on the court. The upcoming semi-final, Ela versus Wang, the Philippines against China, the embattled young gun facing the experienced Olympic medalist. The shadow of scandal and controversy adds an unexpected layer of drama and intrigue, and now that it's here, it's impossible to look away. This is must-watch tennis for reasons that extend far beyond forehands and backhands. Oh, everyone watching Champions Tennis right now, this is exactly why the sport captivates us so deeply. Tennis is not just about technical execution or physical fitness, it's about personalities clashing, egos colliding, and the raw human drama that emerges when athletes are pushed to their absolute limits and then questioned about how they got there. It's about seeing someone knocked down and watching whether they have the courage and strength to rise and fight even harder. Alex Ela embodies that resilience. She delivered a breakthrough victory over Magda Linette, a player who had defeated her twice before, survived a frustrating and physically draining doubles loss, and endured what can only be described as a press room ambush in which her character and integrity were publicly questioned without evidence. And now, she stands just one win away from reaching the final of a WTA tournament, the biggest milestone of her young career. The tennis world is absolutely watching, and for all the drama, controversy, and triumph, it has never been more compelling. The tennis world is glued to Auckland right now. Battle lines have been drawn, accusations made and forcefully denied, and the gauntlet has been thrown down. All that remains is for the players to step on the court and let their performances speak for themselves. Will Alex rise above the drama and deliver another statement performance against Wang Xinyu, or will the weight of recent events prove too much to overcome? Champions Tennis will be there to cover every single moment as it unfolds. We want to hear from you. What's your take on Donna Vekić's shocking accusations? Is it sour grapes from someone unable to handle a younger player's success, or could there be something more suspicious at play? And what about Ila's response? Do you admire her fire and refusal to back down, or think she should have taken the high road? Most importantly, who do you have winning this semi-final showdown? Will Ila channel the controversy into fuel for an electrifying performance, or will Wang capitalize on the distraction to book her place in the final? Drop your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments. We read every single one. And if you enjoyed this explosive update, smash that like button to support the channel, and subscribe with the notification bell to make sure you never miss a moment of the madness, drama, and incredible tennis we cover every day. The tennis world is watching Auckland with unprecedented intensity. Accusations are flying, reputations are on the line, and a young star's career trajectory could be determined over the next 24 hours. This is sports drama at its absolute finest, and Champions Tennis will be there for every second of it. Stay locked in. This story is far from over.